Okay. The Artist Way, week 2. I know it has been truly months. No, it's been like 3 weeks since I posted week 1, which math ain't mathin', but we are what we are. We do what we do. I think that what really actually happened was that I miscalculated when I should be filming these videos. So I started filming this video last week when I started week 2. But then I was like, actually, it's much better to do a there's thunder too. There's thunder happening. It's better to do a retrospective sort of video where you're like, oh, this is how the week went for me. Am I just copying Doji? Absolutely. Do not give me any, I don't get any credit for that. But I started recording it and I was like, well, I haven't even started this week. And I think it would be cool to maybe do, let me record what it's like to start the week and see what happens when I continue going through. But we'll see. For now, just know that I'm offset by a week because I took a week off and then I decided to start week 2 and then realized like I should record week 2 at the end of week 2. So here we are. Week 2 was an interesting week for me because I have been trying to figure out how to actually address the fact that I don't think I can fully handwrite 3 pages. Obviously, like typing 3 pages should be sufficient, but I feel like there's such an emphasis on handwriting, that I haven't been able to just like feel like I can. I don't know. I have been writing, I suppose, and trying to handwrite things during the day and at night or whatever, but I wouldn't call them morning pages. And so that's like kind of where I think I fell off the boat a little bit. I also think this past week I didn't take myself on an artist date. Oh no. Oh no. That's so loud. Um, yeah. I think that the hardest part is upkeeping the morning pages truly because I think that the morning pages yields like a very good like whenever I do morning pages, I do feel clear enough to move on to whatever else I'm going to do, but I have found sometimes that by doing morning pages, I feel like I've done the creating for the day and then I just don't go on to do anything else versus like some days when I don't do my 3 morning pages, I feel like I need to write in order to like upkeep like, oh, I didn't do my morning pages today. I should write and I think it's just a mindset thing that I need to address this week. So at the end of the like the journaling prompts or at the end of the exercises, it says like, hey, were there any things that popped up for you? And I think that that's like something that I like a not a bad behavior, but a mindset shift, maybe a reframing thing that I need to go through and, address because it should be that the 3 morning pages kind of do what they're intended to do, which is like almost clear the sinuses so that all the writing after that is like I can sort of direct my focus and just go in and just do it. But I don't know. That's kind of a big issue that came up for me. This week wasn't I don't know. It really wasn't that bad for me. Mostly because uh, I think that a lot of the things that she talked about this chapter were things that used to apply to me but don't apply to me now. So, like, the. It's so funny. So, I've gone through this book 3 times now, except I never finish it. I get to week 3 or week 4, whichever one is like the media cutoff week. I get there and I stopped. And I've done that the first time I went through it, I just went through chapter 1. The second time I went through it, I got all the way to chapter 4, or week 4. So this is my third time going through week 2, and I have notes from past self in this book that I love reading through because, and I think I told y'all as well, someone else had this book before me, so I like reading their notes too. But I love reading my previous notes and being like, wow, I really vibed with this thing, and I wonder why. But the part about crazy makers, I think that's what she called it, crazy makers. It's so funny because the notes in my notebook say like, hey, like, good riddance to the crazy makers in my life. Like, I have far too many of these in my life. What? Like, I don't know who I was even referring to because I don't think I have any crazy makers in my life now. Um, yeah, I think that the crazy makers, she says, crazy makers are those personalities that create storm centers. They're often charismatic, frequently charming, highly inventive, and powerfully persuasive. They're charismatic but out of control, long on problems and short on solutions. They expect special treatment, discount your reality, spend your time and money, triangulate those they deal with, break deals, and destroy schedules. Like someone who is utterly disruptive to your creative process, and they need to feed on others' creative processes and stilt and distract and um, destroy. And that is fuel for them. And a lot of the examples that she used was like, oh, if you have like a crazy mother in law who, like, every time, like, you've asked her time and time again, like, please, please call us before you show up, and then she just shows up and it throws off all your plans or whatever, and she makes you feel bad about it, like things like that. I think that I'm in this stage of life right now where I don't have any crazy makers in my life, which makes me happy, but it also makes me feel like this is a wasted week of, like, okay, well, back to writing again. And there's no such thing as a wasted week at all. But I definitely was like, I don't think that this applies to me right now. And personally, I mean, maybe this is the Leo about me, but I just don't really surround myself with that energy. Like, I really don't. If someone, like, really makes it stressful for me, I really put out a boundary of, like, hey, like, I need you to never do that again, or we can't hang out. Like, I cannot figure. I'm gonna try to, like, put this boundary here as my love letter to you, because I do want to make space for you. I do want to hang out with you, but bottom line, you can't do this to my situation. You cannot disrupt my situation. Um, I do think that there's something to be said about being neurodivergent and thinking someone is a crazy maker, but they're not. I think that there's something to be said about being neurodivergent, and, like, when you get into a flow and someone, like someone you know and love, like someone you love dearly, just calls you and you're like, oh, I just got into the flow, and you, like, get angry in that moment. Like, that doesn't make someone a crazy maker. Doesn't mean they feed on the disruption of your process. But I think the way that this course, the way that she originally describes crazy makers, I was like, I feel like there's a world where someone could make the argument that that kind of thing is a crazy maker, but it's not. Um, so, I just felt like I was like, I, like, take notes on every single chapter, and I do have to say, when it came to the crazy makers thing, I wrote, I feel like I am one, LMAO, but maybe not. Um, but then I was like, no, no, no. This person is grounded in power and draining and exploiting others. Like, I don't have to worry about that. They said, like, mothers, jealous best friends, terrible boss, needy friend, spouse, etc., destructive patterns. Um, so, I don't know. I don't think that I'm actually like that. I think in my brain I was just like, well, I feel like I make a lot of mistakes, and a lot of people, like, probably see me as a crazy maker because I'm just, like, constantly dealing with bullshit, to be honest. But then I was like, no, that's not a crazy maker. I'm just a friend that always has something going on. That's a very different thing. I'm very cognizant of other people. I don't need other people to, like, bow down, or, like, bow down to my schedule or anything like that. I've never come to someone and been like, I take priority, which is, like, part of my problem in the first place. But I was like, actually, the kind of person they're describing here has nothing to do with me, so I think I'm good. Something else they talk about is self doubt. Um, because something I wrote was issues that came up in my recovery so far. I don't feel like I can live authentically like an artist without obligation. And my negative self talk got really strong during week one. Like, it was really, really all out. And it's wild that she tailors these chapters to immediately and directly, like, zap the very thing that I'm worried about, like the thing that I'm most worried about. So, like, she talks about this, like, self-doubt, which came up a lot. And she says, as we gain strength, so will some of the attacks of our self-doubt. It's a symptom of our recovery. We have to avoid taking the first thought because it's self-doubt, and self-doubt leads to self-sabotage, because, like, we just start to go down the path of, like, well, I'll never be healed, and then continue towards, like, sabotaging our own path forward. And I think during week one and that time that I took between week one and week two, like my self doubt was so strong. I was like, there's no way I can live an artist's life without this obligation, the mundanity, like any of that. I have to get a job and I have to do these things. And, you know, um, if you know me at all, you know that I'm like a multimedia, multidisciplinary kind of person. I write, I do screen, like I want to write screenplays. I do write screenplays, I suppose. I try to write comedy. I've done stand up. I've done improv. I write music. All of these things. Like, I play instruments. I play six instruments. Like, I want to voice act. I want to tell stories for a living. That's what I want. I love TTRPGs. I've been thriving in TTRPGs. Um, but what I find is that there is no other moment, like where some people feel like they get into a flow state from just writing, or they get into a flow state from like while they're doing math or coding or whatever, which is like what I'm traditionally trained to do. I feel that when I'm telling stories, like when I'm sat at a table or like on a call with people and I'm the person running the story and I'm watching the wheels turn and I'm describing the room and all of this stuff. Like, I still get that sort of feeling when I'm playing, like when I'm a player in those things. But running games, I feel so detached from all of life's problems. I feel so connected to myself. I feel like the truest version of myself, and I feel like everything that comes out of me when I'm in that mode and that like that role is like if there was like a heartstring that like drew up, up my body or whatever, like that's a pluck from the heartstring. Like that's the easiest way to describe it. All the rest of it is fluff. All the like the writing and stuff, I love writing, but writing feels like a thing I have to do on the way to storytelling. You know what I'm saying? And I find joy in it because of the process of getting to the storytelling. Um, but I do think that the way some people talk about drawing, or some people talk about doing math, or some people talk about like, oh, I just really like doing taxes, like it has nothing to do with like I'm not a boring person. I just like really just something about doing taxes, whatever. Like, I feel like that's how I feel about storytelling in general, and I can do that. I do that all the time, by the way. Like, my niece and I will be playing, and she's like painting my nails or something, and it turns into a full on story. Or um like even with my partner, my previous partner, like just, oh, here's an AU where our relationship could be found in, like and I will just like, for some people that's funny to be like, oh my gosh, a astronaut AU. I wonder what that looks like. I will just sit there for like 10 minutes and be spouting out like, here's how our story would go, how it would begin and end, and then here's all of like the nuance and like of your character, and here's the nuance of my character, and it just comes to me. It's very easy. It is very easy. Which is why I think living my life is so hard. I don't think there's a job in the world that encompasses that and makes that reality besides just like performing all day. Um, so I don't know. The self doubt, self sabotage stuff was really, really important to me, because of the skepticism of like that feeling of like, I don't think I can live as an artist without, having a regular job. Something else that she talks about is poisonous playmates. Because we are artists. I hear my mom coming downstairs. It's so funny. We're our artists and our protective parent. Um, and so we can't expect people who are blocked in their artist journey and in their life, we can't expect them to be champions of our journey. We can't expect them to love the fact that we're growing and changing and learning how to safeguard ourselves. Um, that's just like not how it works. That's just like, and I luckily don't have anyone in my life right now that is looking at me and going like, oh, you're being selfish for this. You're being selfish for trying to heal, or like you're being selfish for, becoming a better artist or anything like that. Like, it really has not. You're all good. Yeah, I think that there is. Yup. Their doubts. Yeah, She says, do not expect block friends to cheer and champion your recovery. Their doubts can reactivate your own. Um, and I thought that's something that was really good. Safeguard your recovering artist from negative self doubt, from unblocked outsiders, because it threatens relapse. Using the sharp sword of guilt is what I wrote. And I wrote, like, draw a sacred circle around your recovery. Nurture yourself, um, and create the bridge between self doubt to self expression. Create rather than don't create. So, yeah, I don't know. This week was kind of interesting. I'm sure that I'll have more of an update in the future, but um, hopefully week 3 is a little bit more useful. I thought that the 20, what was it? What was this? It was like, was it 20? I'm grabbing my book to be sure. The 10 tiny changes was fun, I suppose. I wrote out a bunch of stuff that I, at the time, I think was very artistic. But now that I've stepped away, I've realized, like, something huge about me is that I really don't set goals for myself. And so I was like, okay, let me just set some goals. My affirmations were pretty the same. I think I do a lot of affirmations about, like, my timing, just because I think the fear that, oh, it's been far too long, or like I'm too young, or like I'm too old, or any of those kinds of things like that, those fears are always rampant. So I have to always, sort of make my affirmations about, like, you're in the correct timing for yourself. You are going to walk into spaces that you didn't even know before, that kind of thing. And yeah, the ones that got, like, full body reactions from me that first week didn't get anything this time. Let me see. 20 things you enjoy doing, that's what it was. I wrote all that stuff out, I guess. And you know what? The truth about it is, a lot of these things require money. And that's just, like, not something everyone has all the time. So it's, like, far less a, like, artistic, oh, I just haven't let my... Nah. Like, it costs $80 to rock climb. It costs $80, and you have to buy your own shoes. Even if you don't buy your own shoes, $80 a month to climb at the climbing gym. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's not just my inner artist not working. It's so strange. I don't know. I think that some of the artist stuff, like, as much as I would like to believe my inner artist is, like, starting to heal or whatever, I think it's just the truth that a lot of the stuff that I would like to do costs money. Going shopping, going to the beach, traveling, rock climbing, even playing video games. Not in the year of our Lord 2026. Like, every game is $60. Working with Arduinos, you have to order them online. Building and DIYing, you have to pick up the thing in order to change it, or, like, build out things. Like, it's none of this stuff is easy, and it was much easier, and it became my favorite thing because I had money at the time. And now that I don't, wow, that lightning was bright. Now that I don't, it feels kind of rough. But, we do what we have to. And then I added to my imaginary lives. I think I would be a mountaineer. I have this dream of, like, being someone who rock climbs and, like, helps people find, like, frogs in the jungle or whatever. Like, it's so stupid, but it's, like, one of those things where I'm like, I do the heavy lifting. Like, I actually I scale the cliffs so that I can gather the moss and the lichen and, like, the whatever. And then I stumble across a new frog and they name the frog after me or whatever. That'd be kind of fun. I wrote astronomer, astrologer, colorist, as in, like, someone who, like, edits color for movies and film, and then fashion designer. I think my sense of style is very specific, but I am autistic, so I wear, like, the same 5 sets of clothes, really. And the past, like, 6 months have really, like, I have not been able to have all my clothes with me ever. And so I've had to, like, I finally got my shoes, like, all the shoes that I owned back, and I was like, oh, my Sambas, I missed you so dearly. Like, I was so happy to finally have my Sambas, but it just, like, I have not been connected with my fashion in a long time. So I think that would still be I stumbled across, like, a fashion show the other day, and it was actually mind-blowing to watch, because I was like, I've never really sat down and watched a fashion show this is divine. So I don't know. I feel like that'd be good. And then she wants you to go on to say ways you live these lives. I mean, this stuff is fine. I don't know. This stuff doesn't feel like it's super helpful for me. But that's also just because, like, I feel like I'm trapped. So, like, there's no, like, I'm not about to become a mountaineer tomorrow, you know? But I guess the point is to just, like, start making it possible to, like, set goals, dream big, and then realize that it's easy to shift your life to just, like, start doing those little things. So, um, yeah. I think that the last thing I want to talk about is like the pie. Like she wants you to basically set out like she wants you to draw 6 slices on a pie chart and or pie graph and just do like adventure, exercise, philosophy, romance, friends, and work. And maybe those weren't things that she said, but whatever. And then you like rate where you are and connect it and make a little dot graph or whatever. Surprisingly, obviously romance is a little low and then work is a little low right now because obviously where am I working right now? Like what job do I have? So that's kind of frustrating. Adventure is okay. Exercise is also pretty low. I need to get back to that. Friends I feel pretty full on, which is nice. And then philosophy I feel middling on. But I just think it's where I'm at right now. I think when you live at home, you just kind of don't have control over a lot of things and you have to figure out and recalibrate how to feed into those parts of your life. And that's a part of it. That's kind of just the whole thing. That's really just the whole thing. So definitely seeing it and showing me like, oh, I need to feed more into my exercise or I need to feed more into my philosophy. I actually am visually looking at it, like helped a lot. But I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that some of the things that I want to do, the um, the would likes, the 10 tiny changes, um, helps because like I wrote out things like, oh, I would like to make a short film. I would like to win an award for my jamming. I would like to play in a band. I would like to get 100 people in a stream. I would like to do a stand-up set. I would like to pitch a sketch. I would like to paint a piece. I would like to voice act a character. That one's coming true. I would like to write a musical, which was the last thing I'll talk about, actually. So, like, something that I found this week was this. I was like in my downloads folder and I was sort of cleaning things out and I stumbled across a track that was seemingly written by me. And I was a little confused about it because I was like, oh, where did this come from? Like, what is this? And I clicked on it and I opened up the track and it was one of the songs from a musical I had written and it's not completely done, but it was mostly like the idea was there and I had written 3 or 4 of the songs and I was like already trying to find the next, like where am I going next with it. But it was kind of crazy because I wrote those songs at what I consider to be the lowest point of my life. Like genuinely, like I'm huddling in my room. I am singing these songs until quiet hour because as soon as it hits quiet hours, like I'm gonna get a text. Like I'm so like I'm hiding in my room at this point. I'm not seeing much of anyone. And this idea came to me. Now I will say at that point in time I was in improv classes and I was going to comedy shows like as often as I could. Like it's $2.50 for the train to get to the comedy show, $2.50 to get back. So as long as I have $5 in my pocket, or I could obtain $5, I would figure out a way to go to a comedy show because it was just free. So I might as well. But I think I was going through like the hardest point in my life, and comedy really saved me in that it made me. I watched this really funny musical called Pigskin, the musical. I wish I had my water bottle because I have a sticker for it too. And I think it was written by Chris Pitch. But I saw it and I was like, wow. Like in a very kind, loving way, this musical is good without being like extremely highly produced or like having a ton of money to put into this. Like this musical is good, fun, and it's funny without needing to be highly produced. Like I can do that, can't I? I could do this. And so it was wild to be so inspired in the worst point of my life. And here I am months later in a better part of my life. And I'm discovering these tracks and remembering the old story and remembering and being like, whoa, like this was actually a great idea. I can't believe I had this moment or I had this idea in that moment of adversity. So I think that like that really helped a lot get rid of my self doubt for the week. Like, I really feel like a lot of my self doubt went out of the window because I just went back to this one piece where I was like, wow, I'm an artist even when I'm struggling. I'm an artist when I'm suffering. I'm an artist when I'm sad. I'm an artist when I'm happy. That's crazy. That just means I'm an artist all the time. Um, so, I don't know. I might share the track at some point, but it just like, it was like actually crazy to hear my voice, my harmonies, my synths. Like this is all my idea, and I remember being in my room and singing these songs and being like so like curled into myself because I was so sad. And like nobody wanted to see me, and like nobody could see me. Like best friend traveling, like it was. I was sick. Like I was on the tail end of being sick. I was done being sick, but I was just like nobody wanted to hang out with me. So I was just like, okay, well I'm gonna work on this, and I just sat for hours whipping out songs. Do I know how to write a musical? Absolutely not. Do I know how the musical would go? Yes, absolutely. Do I know how it ends? Absolutely. The problem has just been sitting down to finish the musical, but it was crazy to stumble across that and be like, this is a good idea. And I had this idea at a very rough time in my life. So I don't know. Maybe that will inspire someone. Maybe just like going back and thinking about where you've been and go back to your previous art pieces and noodle around in your folders and in your room and search for things that are remnants of your artist self, because it will remind you and it will vanquish any idea that you haven't been an artist. Like even if you find a bad piece of art, you will like see how much you've grown, and that matters way more than like, especially if you're struggling with trying to prove to yourself that you are the artist that you want to become. Like truly. um, but yeah, that's week 2. On to week 3. I'm hoping for the best with week 3 because I think week 3 was pretty hard for me last time. So hopefully it will be good, and hopefully I'll find a way to balance out that morning pages problem. But yeah, this has been fun. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.